fights.
Oh, here we go. Picks and bans for game number 2 between IM and Jin Air. And we'll see what the priorities are going to be. There's that Bard ban again.
IM really doesn't want
Wow.
Sweet's Bard to get into this game. I wonder what has been going on in scrims for Jin Air to...
It's exciting because you know it's going to get through.
I hope this is a trend that we're going to see. Now everybody just bans Bard against Jin Air. We never know why.
I think it's because Sweet is an amazing Bard player, which we really have not seen yet in League of Legends, I feel. So hopefully we get to see it sometime. We'll see a Zir ban.
So very different bans this time around. Sejuani taken out by IM. They may be trying to first pick the Gragas in this game if they want to remove it, considering they banned Gragas on the red side in the last one. So thinking about their last ban right here. So there's a lot of choices left for Jin Air. Of course, they could leave that Gnar up, take it in the first round of the draft. There's an Alistar ban against Sweet. 2 support bans.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean, the Alistar, he was very good on last game, but the Bard intrigues me, Monty. And there is the LeBlanc ban. So, will we see perhaps the first pick, Hecarim or Maokai? Well, or Gnar, for instance. Gnar is available.
I think Gnar is actually the better first pick here because you have both Gragas and Rek'Sai still up, so you have some options in terms of your junglers. So first picking a jungler isn't going to be that attractive.
Well, Apple's Gnar is extremely good. It was ban-worthy in game number 1, but not game 2.
Good think about the Thresh here as well. That's the other thing that I think is probably running through their minds. Cassiopeia.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
All right. Interesting. So we'll see what Jin Air takes in response, but putting the priority on getting Frozen a champion he's comfortable on. Now, it didn't work out for them last game.
Instantly locking in the Gragas as well. And now there's no Azir because it was banned by Jin Air, even though GBM did fall behind just a little bit in terms of farm. GBM really performing well on that Azir overall. So where is GBM going to go with this, I wonder? And will they take the, maybe take the Sivir here instead? Just waiting to see what that top lane pickup's going to be. So Sivir for Pilot.
Thresh Gnar this time around, I would think.
I think they'll definitely take the Thresh. And then from there, whether they want to show their hand, they may want to try and see a solo lane before they take the Gnar itself.
Sure.
And instead they could just pick their duo right now. They could play something like, or they could take the jungle. Okay.
All right, yeah, Rek'Sai. All right. And you would imagine that Thresh is going to get locked in for Ignar, but we'll see.
Yeah, almost certainly. They just want to make sure that they can get some lane counter picks here in the end. So take the Rek'Sai right now. Wait to see what Jin Air is going to do in terms of one solo lane and their duo lane. GBM could play AP Kog'Maw here into the Cassiopeia. I don't think he's going to play New Rise. That would be really surprising.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Begins again. Yeah, they may actually just want to leave the mid pick to last, huh?
Yeah, they definitely should leave the mid pick to last on the red side and play something that's safe. I mean, if you take the Xerath now, there's so much kill pressure. I mean, Rek'Sai and Thresh roaming into the mid lane would be very dangerous for a Xerath, even though GBM is a really good Xerath player.
He is an extremely talented Xerath player, but
there we go.
It's safer to pick that top lane, yeah.
For the Rumble.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe a Jinx for Roar?
Rumble and Janna, so more defensive-oriented support.
Yeah.
Looking for that peel this time around. Nice solid mid-game setup from Jin Air with the Sivir and the Rumble and Gragas. So they may want to get something that has a bit more carry potential in the late game if necessary for Jin Air. And there is a Kassadin coming in. That's a top Kassadin.
Or is it a top Cassiopeia?
Fair enough.
We've seen it before. Not in Korea, but by a Korean.
Still, blind picking the Kassadin would be a little bit risky, but it could be a flex pick. Both players may be able to play that Kassadin, and it will be Corki into this Sivir.
Whoa! Yasuo locked in immediately for GBM. Seriously. Okay, then.
Well, Yasuo hasn't been working out so well in Cinder Hulk or even pre-Cinder Hulk. We've seen it a couple times, of course.
Not so
Impulse. Xiao Weixiao likes to play that Yasuo. It was pretty bad. We saw that Yasuo coming in at IEM from the GE Tigers. It was pretty bad.
That didn't work out
We've
at all
seen
for
it in
Kuro,
China as well. It was also pretty bad. So I'm waiting for the time that this Yasuo actually makes sense. Now, they have a lot of knockups. They have Monsoon and the explosive cast to set up. And they could get a pretty nasty Wombo combo off of it. But as for how this is going to work in the mid lane, so it will be top Kassadin. Well, this is weird.
Yeah, this is not what we were expecting, but
Now,
hey, Jin Air needs to show us new stuff, so this is fine.
Top Kassadin has been a thing for a while. I wonder how it's going to be built. Of course, with that Rumble, you can trade really effectively because as he comes into Flame Spitter you just Q him and then you have a shield and you win the trade.
Yeah.
So it does make sense, even though it is vulnerable pre-6 in that long lane. Now, previously we've seen it's probably going to be an AP build. I assume it's just going to be Rod as per normal, and we're not going to see any kind of weird Trinity Force top Kassadin shenanigans like we used to. Since the rework, you really do need that Rod to build AP. So.
All right, well, can IM tie it up, or does Jin Air get the 2-0? Let's get in the game and find out. And here we go. Welcome to game number 2 of IM versus Jin Air Green Wings. And IM still with the rabid fan base. They're all Frozen fans, come on.
Well, this is an interesting pick into Cassiopeia because if you could win wall the Twin Fangs, it does kill some of her, or a significant amount rather, of her damage output. Also, IM has to be very careful because they have a ton of magic damage on this team. And so Locket and MR are going to be highly efficient when itemized by Jin Air. Oh, this is wacky. GBM actually starting with the Doran's shield as well for that little bit extra sustain.
Hasn't selected his skill yet.
I think this is pretty bad, but it may work.
You never know. I mean, GBM has always had, well, not always, but as far as one season ago, he's had a very robust champion pool.
I mean, Windwall is really good against IM's composition. You're going to be able to block Twin Fangs. You're going to be able to block Corky missiles.
True.
So you will be cutting a lot of that damage just with the one ability. I just don't know exactly what Yasuo is going to do here. Now, their composition is pretty squishy. They're lacking a big tank. So if he can get onto the back lines, maybe he can assassinate that Cassiopeia before she can really do anything at all. Also, Windwall should block the Petrifying Gaze as well. Interesting. It's going to come down, I think, to how well GBM can use that Windwall to see how effective he is.
Does it actually block the Petrifying Gaze?
I believe it does.
Wow. I guess I haven't seen it in action.
I'm not sure on that one, but I think it does.
It'd be interesting.
I'm sure we're going to find out this game, though, if it does, in fact, block it. And his passive good in lane against Cassiopeia as well, because you're going to be able to not take quite so much damage off of the dots that Cassiopeia is putting down if you do get hit by one. So it's definitely interesting. I have a feeling this was picked for lane and maybe not for overall team composition. But
I think it was picked for intimidation factor. GBM throwing something at you you're not expecting.
Level
maybe
2
early,
gank here.
Yeah, early action from Chaser here. Decides not to do it. Oh, but then Pilot gets engaged on. Nice whirlwind response, and here comes Chaser now. Pilot trying to bait people back. Can they get inside? Oh, he tried to flash, but Roar flashed out of it. So Summoners used on both sides. But Roar without that flash now, whereas Pilot only needed to burn the Summoner heal.
Yeah, Pilot, I think, messed up with his spell shield a little bit right there, too, actually having that hook land on him. So very favorable trade for Incredible Miracle. But in the end, actually, the heal for the flash going to be pretty good for Jin Air. A little bit of time lost in the jungle for Chaser. Chaser just going to go ahead and take the crab so that his dual lane has a little bit more protection as Tucson makes his way down to the bottom side of the map.
Yep, and Chaser without that flash for a little while is the biggest steal in the world.
isn't. So no one actually, you know, normally in a game like this where we would have a Kassadin versus a Rumble in the top lane, you'd see a lot more pressure on top, considering that both these champions very easily ganked, but not this game. A little bit of mind games right there, coming in for the level 2 gank on the more mobile bottom lane.
GBM for now, pushing up Apple, but there we go. Twin Fangs blocked by that wind wall.
That's the thing, is if you get hit by the poison, you're going to nullify it with your passive shield, and then if Cassiopeia comes in with the Twin Fangs, you can just take that away with the wind wall. So it is really hard to be a bully with this Cassiopeia against the Yasuo in lane. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not a matchup we really see much at all, ever.
Well, Yasuo and Cassiopeia have never actually been in the meta at the same time together.
They still really aren't, but GBM's playing Yasuo anyway right now.
He's making it work. He's going back to his off-meta pick roots, Doa.
GBM's got his own meta, but, you know, I feel like Orianna could work pretty well right now, but we just don't really see people pick it up.
Orianna would definitely work very well against this Cassiopeia. Now, why you would play Yasuo instead of Orianna, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, Orianna's like the GBM specialty, so
whatever.
Whatever, GBM.
The champion that he was known for coming into the competitive scene.
It was like the only champion he was good on for a full 2 years almost, you know?
He was good on Zed, too.
Okay, all right. He did have some good Zed games, but it was mostly Orianna, and now he's got a good chance to pick it.
Yep, absolutely. That's a very good point, Doa. Orianna definitely fine.
I'm a bit surprised. I'll have to criticize him in person later. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, you would.
Not unless he asked me.
Ask you to criticize him, please.
Yeah, please.
Dump all over my picks.
He just asked for, you know, advice. Yeah, I'm like, well, what do you think is good right now, Doa? I'm like, Orianna. He's like, oh, I played that so much already. But yeah, man, it's good. He's like, how about Yasuo? And I'm like, I don't know. Picks it anyway.
That was a little bit of a risky counter jungle attempt right there by Chaser, considering that Yasuo wasn't even in lane right there, and he could have been collapsed on even with the wards that he had. So Trace doing much better in lane this time around. Trying to push out this Kassadin, but no moves onto the top side of the map yet, and Kassadin is level 6 right now, or nearly. He's level 6, yeah, just hit it.
No jungle presence at all in the top part of the map. It's all been oriented around the mid and bot, mostly bot. Bizarrely enough. The GBM keeping up in CS admirably with a little bit of a lead there.
Giving
teamwork.
Teamwork jungling right there.
That's right.
Go ahead, help him out with a little tornado over the wall. And now pink ward into the river for GBM. Tucson looking for a gank on the bottom side.
You gotta be careful with that. Roar still doesn't have flash up. Yeah, that was a waste of bullets, Corki.
Corki wastes so many bullets, man.
Seriously. If there was like an accuracy rating at the end of games, which there totally should be for skill shots, Corki would be down at the bottom.
That would be a fun statistic to see in terms of
skill shot accuracy. Yeah, right. Get on that. I want to see that. That'd be very cool. Can prove once and for all who's the best in hooking.
Yeah, you could track it independently by ability too. So like Q skill shot accuracy.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
It would be. We have the best ideas.
More fun than these long farm games. Wow, nice trade there from GBM.
Yeah. All farms, or Frozen rather, is going to be handed the blue buff.
Chaser just going ahead and taking his.
Hey, well, I mean, Yasuo doesn't really need it, I suppose.
Nope, not very much. So we'll just help Chaser a little bit clear that much faster. Saber from both of our junglers this game. That really says that we're both teams really just wanting to farm right now, not trying to make plays on the lane.
Oh, goody.
With a chilling smite or anything like that. So pretty much just gonna maintain the status quo for a little bit. Trace Looks like he will be going for that Abyssal Scepter first. I think that's definitely the best buy in this situation because it does so much work not only in lane but also pretty much in any kind of team fight that you're going to be seeing right here.
Well,
and Tucson also going for the Cinderhulk. That's just more magic damage in this situation. So Jin Air, I think they can play this calmly, get a locket early on into this game, and then there's just nothing that IM's going to be able to do in terms of late game damage.
Yeah, the itemization as far as defensive things to buy for Jin Air is pretty easy to figure out. Just grab MR. Not too tough. So do you feel like IM kind of had a bit of a bad draft again with this?
It depends. I don't know what this Kassadin is supposed to be doing. So they definitely have a lot of damage. It's their comp is on a timing window, right? They're up against the MR stacking of Jin Air. If they can make a play and start just bursting people down with Cassiopeia and Kassadin, it could work. But they're going to have a gold lead, and they need to make sure that they use some of these team fights to get onto the back line very efficiently. But that said, Spell Shield on Sivir and then an Abyssal on Rumble. Who exactly are they going to burst down right here? GBM is going to be ulting them during that timing window where they want to be bursting. So
true.
I think it's going to be hard.
Yeah, Jin Air has a lot of good counter engage, I suppose.
Yeah, they can reset the fight too with Janna. So
yep.
Kassadin gets in that back line. He's going to be pushed out pretty rapidly.
Well, Tucson trying to come in for a bit of a lane gank here. There's a ward in that brush though, so Jin Air probably isn't going to be too vulnerable to this.
Yeah, Ping's going down into that brush as well, so it seems like he knows that they have vision of the area, and they should, because considering there's one hit point of the ward removed already, so they attacked it.
Oh, that's true. They know it's
when
there.
It was being placed. Yeah. So Tucson trying to be patient as this wave moves back out. I'm not sure they can really do anything about this, though. Sweet as Monsoon, so it'll be really hard to actually make this gank effective.
Yeah, meanwhile, down in mid lane, something might be effective if Chaser comes in. They're going to try. Oh, flash with a knock-up, and there's that last breath. Oh, but the explosive cast misses. Well, it was close. That would have been a really sick gank, but
that was a
quite
nice flash body slam to hit the knock-up for GBM to actually ult in on.
Yeah.
And they tried to predict the flash too, but Frozen flashed to the side instead of backwards. Otherwise, he may have been hit by that explosive cast and knocked right back in. So good attempt. They're going to get a tower for it at the very least, so that's a pretty big bonus right there. Early mid-tower down in favor of the Jin Air Green Wings. So Yasuo Vic actually working out just in terms of bullying this Cassiopeia out of lane.
Yeah, Trace spent some time down in the enemy jungle as well too, just making sure everything was safe. Walked through a ward or two, but it really prevented any sort of counterattacks from IM.
Here's the Shiv finished, first major item for Yasuo, getting the crit cloak as well, so it looks like he's planning on building into an Infinity Edge next. So that's not going to be very useful for split pushing, but of course, it's always that question, are we going to see the Yasuo in terms of will he be split pushing with a blade or just going for that big ult on the back line? And the answer is this is going to be a Yasuo that groups up as 5 and tries to just wombo you.
This seems like Jin Air really doesn't want to give any dragons to IM this game. Seems like they want to try to force some fights. Just get GBM fed. Meanwhile, a bit of a fight down at bot lane. Ooh, wow, Sweet getting a bit low. Manages to make it out. Slightly low mana now for Roar as well, too.
Had to burn his Monsoon and the Flash, though. This could be a good dragon timing for IM, and they're going to try and take the Scuttler. There is a ward about to expire, and they're not going to take that opportunity, especially with mid still pushed in that deep.
It might be a bit challenging.
Well, they've got a long way to scale, though, with this Kassadin still not completing his Rod yet. Will be finished quite shortly, but Rod and Tier, this is a composition that takes a really long time to ramp up with Cassiopeia and Kassadin. Yeah, it's going to be very strong, but I have a feeling by the time that they get into their power spike, there's going to be so much MR on the side of Jin Air. I would have much rather have seen a Lucian this game from Roar instead of this Corki.
Oh, that's a good point. Chaser and GBM chasing to the jungle. Looks like they want to take this blue buff. And we may have a bit of a fight here as Apple's coming through. A bit of zoning from Trace to try to keep him out of it. Tucson comes in. There's a nice knock-up last breath. On to Apple trying to get away. It's hard to catch a Cassidy, but they may have caught Tucson. Looks like they have. Equalizer goes down at first blood. Taken by GBM on this Yasuo. It's working so far.
It's an inventive counter pick to Cassiopeia. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Ignar and Frozen still trying to claim this blue buff, but they have to do it very carefully. Yeah, looks like they'll go ahead and get it. And meanwhile, Trace still farming up in that top lane. So, a successful little engage for Jin Air. They got one pick, they got the blue buff.
Good response from IM though. Just go ahead, try and solo kill this dragon while you have the opportunity. You know that everyone is on the top side. They have 3 people, so they can easily secure this dragon, but it will cost them their top lane turret in the end. Pilot coming down here just to add a little bit of wave clear. No one in the mid lane right now to catch this wave, but Trace finishing off that turret, getting Jin Air a nice little lead right now, 2K about. Yep. That's what they're looking for, so we'll see if Chaser going to build into this Aegis as his next item. That should be what he wants.
Seems like it'd be a good idea. Oh, meanwhile, wow, Roar doing a lot of damage to Pilot, but he can't really push up any farther. They don't really know where people are. They're chasing him now. Ignar is right there. They need to be careful. Oh, boy. Yep, that was almost a nice grab over the wall there.
Could have gone very interestingly if Rek'Sai tunneled over that wall right there for the 3v2. But back, Jin Air will back off. And now, just continue rolling through the jungle, eliminating some of these Rek'Sai tunnels as Gragas finds them. And just more farming from Chaser.
Our Pilot hasn't been able to do a ton of damage to this turret yet, so that will slow down Jin Air a bit. But, you know, again, I feel like Jin Air has just picked themselves into a team that has time, you know?
Yeah, they definitely have some amount of time right here. And like I said, I would definitely hand this to IM composition in the late game if it wasn't a Corki that they were playing.
Let's see. Oh, Trace getting very low, but Apple getting baited in. There's the last breath again. Oh, Apple went way too far for that one, and Jin Air punishing.
That was a cute bait by Trace right there. Not even blowing his flash or his ult in that situation. Very confident that his team was there to back him up. And just great synergy. I mean, something we've seen this game is Chaser and GBM are really working well together to set up these Yasuo ultimates. It doesn't look... It looks like there's something they've highly practiced right now. 2 crit cloaks. You only want one of those, GBM. Pickaxe instead. No, he's going to go for the boots and have quite enough money, it looks like.
It's the king of getting 2 of something.
Yes, actually.
Yep, we've seen this a lot.
Double void staffs, just like tons of weird doubled up items, but this time remembers that he already picked up that crit cloak and just returns it to the store before grabbing the boots and upgrading his trinket instead. So
the APM is too high, man. It's clicking too fast.
Awkward situation for Cassiopeia as well, because had to go tier arm guard, so it will be a Zhonya's Hourglass first, but that's not exactly ideal to cope with the damage that Trace is putting down as well. And yeah, just a long time before this comp is going to come online. Chaser going for the Sightstone after his Cinder Hulk. Understandable, but with the Sightstone and 2 upgraded war trinkets already, they're going to have great opportunities to continue to create picks on the map and push forward now that they have this early turret advantage.
Jin Air's playing this out really cleanly, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to respect Jin Air. I may not like the Yasuo pick or think that it's ideal when they could have just picked Orianna instead, like you're saying, but they showed that they have like an ace up their sleeve right here. Oh. And certainly they're playing it out mechanically quite well.
Yeah. Well, GBM is going to find Tucson trying to take out this pink ward. Frozen's right there as well. Trace and Chase are coming down. They need to be careful. And yeah, Frozen and Tucson just backing off, not wanting to fight this one. Can't really blame them. That static shift is really giving GBM some really good wave clear as well too. So Frozen not even able to push the lane he's in.
Yeah, that's something that Jin Air is doing really well, is just keeping the pressure up in the mid and top lane. Roar holding his own, obviously nice CS lead for him down there. GBM now.
Oh, could be a bit of a dive. Sweet coming in. Will he be able to get the knock up? There's Monsoon right into the last breath. Valkyrie away, the teleport coming in. Roar already dead. Apple not able to do anything about that. Chaser finds Tusa in the jungle here. Frozen coming back along with Ignar from behind, but Jin Air's already out. Oh, meanwhile, Ignar. Oops. Oh, that was not the direction you want to send him, but whatever.
So, yeah.
Nice try.
Explosive Cask and Equalizer dropped at the same time, so not going to be able to finish off Ignar.
The anti-wombo combo.
I mean, Jin Air's setting up these last breaths so well, using the Monsoon right there, right after the On the Hunt comes in from Sivir to allow GBM to have the drop. So, I mean, I'm impressed with this Yasuo play.
Yeah.
They're coordinating around GBM very well as an entire team to pick up kills in the side lane, and he now has a pretty substantial advantage. Farm lead, got that turret, now a couple of kills. It's all going really, really well for this Yasuo.
He's probably really close to that Infinity Edge, too.
Oh, yeah, he has it, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that'll just make him even scarier in those skirmishes that we've seen him be good at so far this game.
I like going for Bloodthirster first. Very unconventional build on Sivir, but allows for a little bit more forward play and sustain so he can keep on pushing and hopefully someday get that turret in the bottom side. Apple now starting to collect some CS.
I suppose when you're kind of on your own too, you need that little bit of extra safety if you're going to be in that solo lane as an AD carry.
Yeah, I think they just want to just continue to push the wave up as well, and it helps deal with some of the Corki poke that was annoying Sivir earlier on in this game.
Well, GBM starting to get a nice CS lead over Frozen in the mid lane, able to wander around and take a lot of that free farm. You can tell they really have kind of built this around GBM's Yasuo. They're giving him all this farm, they're setting up all these kills for him, and so far it's really working out. Yep, there's the Infinity Edge picked up. Holding onto that Doran shield for dear life, too.
Well, he has enough. I mean, he already upgraded his totem for the extra wards as well, so there's not really a need to sell it at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he's able to get a ton of vision down, got himself a big ward as well, has that extra slot. So
this would be Jin Air's first dragon of the game, but it's only the second dragon overall taken. We'll see if they can grab it. I am trying to get in position to stop this.
Lane. There's nothing really they can do about this.
Not really. Oh, Tusa's going to come in and try to steal it. Gets locked up. There's the last breath immediately. Dragon's still alive, though. Doesn't get out. A kill for Tracer. And there's the dragon as well. Oh, flash over the wall. They get onto Ignar with that
equalizer.
Man.
Very decisive play over the wall from Trace as they drop that and take him out. Roar's going to get a turret for his trouble, but 2 kills and a dragon in exchange for a turret. Not the kind of trade you want to make right now if you are Incredible Miracle.
Well, I think Jin Air's going to get more than just that, too. They're going to get at least that bottom turret, and they may even get the tier 2 out of this, I think.
Yeah, Chaser just continuing to cause problems, is building into that Aegis of the Legion right now, so there's really not even a way that IM can damage this Jin Air team. Great itemization, I feel, from Jin Air so far. Wouldn't surprise me if GBM even went into a Hex Drinker as his next item.
Yeah, certainly could. They even gave him the red buff. They really, really want this Yasuo to carry.
There it is. Aegis done. That's probably means this game is over.
Static Shiv finished for Pilot, too, so he can still be in one of those side lanes and push things up if they need him to. GBM. Looks like they'll chase Tucson away from Baron, and it's time to get some wards down.
Well, I'm sad, Doa, that IM didn't put up more of a fight this evening. I thought this was going to be a really close set, but Jin Air at least looks a lot better than they did at the end of spring.
Yeah, so what we're seeing today is kind of the better teams that looked pretty good at the end of last season. You know, Jin Air slumped a little bit, but overall those teams have improved in the offseason. And even though IM is having problems this game, they still look better than they did last season. It didn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot for that to be true, but it's true.
Yes. Well, I think that they had some hiccups in their draft today, and these are things that can be rectified in the future. So I think the fundamentals are much stronger on IM at the very least, especially what we saw in Game 1. They'll have some good games this season, I'm sure. But now a QSS onto GBM, so that is pretty much solely to deal with Petrifying Gaze. Interesting choice.
Yep. Oh, Apple comes over the wall, but he just doesn't seem to have a lot of damage right now. Tucson, oh, he flashed, and he got well, was that a challenging smite
There's
onto Sweet?
no way you should flash in that situation because Sweet had Monsoon and flash up himself. You're not going to be able to secure that kill regardless.
Well, it's like Tucson forgot that he didn't have chilling smite too because he used challenging smite on Janna. I don't think that's the ideal use of that ability.
GBM going to start split pushing a little bit right here. Throws out a tornado, but backs off.
I mean, you
as
do
he
reduce.
Sees that Thresh coming through.
You do reduce 20% of Janna's damage. You know, so
get some true damage down as well.
Yeah, it's true. Just saying. Janna's a little bit less strong. Apple in a little bit of trouble. They miss him with the Whirlwind. He's going to get back. Or will he? Gets out on the Lantern. After the equalizer was used by Trace. Meanwhile, the split push at the bottom going on. GBM versus Roar down there.
The Roarky.
Roarky. It's true. It's a good one.
I'm not a fan of the Roarky.
Roarky.
Especially with the way the draft went. They picked Porky and cast it in the last round of their draft on blue side. Could have easily picked a counter matchup to Sivir in Lucian and gone for that instead.
Certainly issues in drafting. That's for sure. And so we've reached that point in the game where Jin Air can kind of play this out casually and safely.
Yep. All they have to do is just continue to stack that MR. GBM going for the MR early with that QSS. I think that's a nice buy. He doesn't have to buy any kind of armor penetration yet, really. There's another arm guard coming in for Apple, but that said, it's not very critical that they go for that, considering the targets are pretty squishy anyway, even with that armor. Not a lot of HP to back it up. And he'll be just fine. Goes for Merc Treads as well. And Pilot working towards the Last Whisper all the same. And GBM just keeps on split pushing. Not really anybody who can stop him.
Yeah, pretty much.
I really like how Genera just kept the lanes pushed this entire game. It's been unrelenting minion pressure for them. Even after they got that mid turret down, they haven't let up hardly at all.
Wow, and it looks like he's going to get this turret too. Roar going up really far, but they've got a Gragas coming from behind. This seems a bit dangerous. Oh, no, never mind. Chaser changed his mind. Probably could have come in for a flank there.
GBM doesn't have a lot of lifesteal, though. In fact, doesn't have any at all. So he needs to be a little bit more careful about those kind of trades. Can't go too aggressively onto the turret.
You don't need lifesteal if you quickly steal their life.
Wise words from Noah.
Yep. That's right. Well, Tucson gets knocked up. Chaser tries to do something. Gets hit with that death sentence. GBM coming in. There's the last breath onto Roar. Roar Valkyrie's away. GBM, I don't think that's the place you want to chase there. No. GBM still alive for now. Oh, finally goes down. Apple with a kill there. Trace in a bit of trouble. And that was not the most ideal fight for Jin Air. But they get the mid lane tier 2. So all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah, no 80 carry there at all. Really kind of questionable attempt at a dive against a Corki that's still at his flash up. The danger here is that IM can do Baron.
Yes, they can.
And Chaser doesn't have a lot of HP, so they're going to try and take a stab at it. It is one of the only ways they can come back in this game right now, but it's a great call.
We need Pilot to have one of those amazing space Sivir moments right now.
Oh, they're doing this Baron really fast. There's not anything Jin Air can do to stop this.
Steal it with Whirlwind. Oh, too late. Sweet lost his opportunity to be hero. Well, Dragon's up, so they can at least get that, get the second Dragon. And all this means, Monty, is that Jin Air will just be even safer and even more methodical.
All right, GBM's going to go for GA now as his next item, it would appear. Getting that chain vest in.
All right.
Let's take a look at this. So Chaser gets grabbed right here. GBM thinks he has an angle. There's the cast. Roar gets ulted, but GBM attempting to go through the box and then flashing out and taking an enormous amount of damage. Meanwhile, Trace doesn't drop his ultimate before he gets hooked, and so just gets burned down at the end in that 4v5. Really sloppy play from Jin Air. Now costs him a Baron, and it's going to delay their ability to close out this game, and it gives IM a chance to actually scale here. They are still going to be scary, especially if Apple gets the Chalice next, because he's going to have so much mana refresh off of kills and assists.
True enough. Looks like they might get this bot lane turret now. Certainly will with the Baron buff.
It's a big, big swing for IM. They're clawing back into this game in terms of gold.
True enough.
So,
let's see if they can find anyone.
Locket's completed now as well. And if Pilot also gets a QSS, they're going to have so much magic resist, even against this high damage team.
Oh, Whirlwind coming through. They get the knock upon the roar, but no GBM there for the last breath or anything.
Looks like Janair happy just to give up this mid lane turret. Oh, they have some wave clear right there. I mean, they have 2 static shivs.
And you'd think they could clear it. Well, Chaser taking some damage from Apple on the outside of that fight. No one's able to kill that cannon minion. Sivir coming close. Well, Baron, what can you do?
Wait it out. Maybe save your turn. There it goes.
Okay.
Right in time for another wave to show up. There's another hook. Trace going to dodge that one. They finally get the tower down, but that was a big delay from Janair.
Yeah. But Janair's still a little bit ahead here. And once Baron buff runs out for IM, they're going to be right back on the defensive, it seems like.
At least they caught up in terms of that gold deficit,
yeah.
And they got more of a chance to scale with this Cassidon and with this Cassiopeia. So there is a small amount of light at the end of the tunnel now for Incredible Miracle. Still a chance they can come back thanks to that foolish play by Janair on the tier 2 on the bottom side.
Yeah, you really can't be taking chances like that, but we do know Janair, and we know sometimes they get a little bit cocky, especially a certain player in the mid lane.
Last Whisper done for Corki, so they are starting to have more and more physical damage, which is how they really have an opportunity to win this game. I mean, Roar has to come up big with a lot of auto attacks. They're going to come through in this one.
Sure enough. Seems like the poke isn't really going to do a whole lot for Corki at this point.
I don't know why Janair is trying to fight over vision right now around the Baron with so long left on that timer. They're trying to push back the ward line just so IM doesn't have as much comfort moving past the river. But Baron's down for them now. So Janair managed to make it through, only losing a couple of towers. But still, IM pulling back within under 2K gold in terms of that advantage. And GBM is right back to split pushing.
Yep. Ideally, this hasn't tilted Janair too much. We've seen it happen when people pick Yasuo in the past. Gotta watch out.
Gotta watch out for the self-Yasuo tilt.
The Yasuo tilt is real. Just ask Kuro.
Tilt yourself with it.
Yep. That's the idea.
Not a great strategy. There's the GA done for GBM now. The ultimate in Yasuo defense. Huge amount of MR. I don't know why you would build the chain vest first in this circumstance, though. Definitely not the best core component to start off your build with, but he has 147 MR on Yasuo at this point. Going to be very, very difficult for Incredible Miracle to take down.
Yeah, and that'll be one of the really nice things about going into team fights against champions like Cassiopeia and stuff too, is that you need to be a little bit more tanky, I think, for situations like that. Unless you just kill him right away.
Well, it's going to be hard with Zhonya's and a Seraph's Embrace, so I think it makes sense to go ahead and get the GA right here.
Oh, a hook on the Sweet, but no follow-up. Could have been devastating with Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds, but not enough IM members around to make a play out of it.
Dragon's very late this game as well. The fact that we're only going to Dragon number 4 here at nearly 34 minutes into this game.
Nope. Oh, found him. Tremor sense. Oh, hi.
Nice, actually took down all the wards very quickly, and Pink Ward doing his job.
Oh. Ooh. Aurora's starting to poke a bit with these Corky missiles. And Dragon is up. So Jinair rotating back again. They may have to fight this. We'll see. I am pushing ahead. Jinair has that Dragon activated. There's a nice knock up. They're not going to go after it. They want the Dragon instead. They will get it. Tucson tried to steal it again. Oh, now they're going to go in after him. They pulled Tucson out on the Lantern. And Jinair, do they pursue? Chase. Oh, man, everybody gets out of it. Oh, but actually GBM gets in. Manages to get that last breath off. A big heal comes in from Sweet as well. But I am getting out of it pretty smoothly. Apple comes in. Oh, taken out right after the Zonias. But a kill onto GBM from Frozen means that Jinair is on the run a little bit. Maybe didn't want to engage on that one. A flash from Frozen, but he can't finish off Trace just yet. Oh, Pilot, though. He sees Tucson.
Wow, there's Pink Ward in the brush right there, noticing Tucson. Tucson has to hop out of his tunnel. They're going for another Baron, actually, potentially. They can do that Baron very quickly with the Cassiopeia. Wouldn't blame them at all to take it. Trace does have his TP up, but there's a target. He's got a TP over.
Yeah, Chaser and Pilot coming in as well, too. Oh, no, they turned around, so now it's only Trace. What in the world? That must have been a bit of a miscommunication, because Chaser and Pilot were there and then went away. Okay, things are getting interesting now. Trace running. Finally, Pilot and Chaser showing up. The death sentence misses. That was a very weird series of events there for both teams.
And they have to deal with this huge wave in the top side as well. Trace actually just going to recall. GBM will take out the wave. So quick TP back in, not going to commit to that Baron at all. And you know, this is one of the reasons why Yasuo just isn't great. I mean, GBM got an ult off onto Tucson and Ignar in that fight, immediately died, rezzed, and then immediately died again without doing much of anything. So his damage output pretty darn low.
Yeah.
And he's had to build all these defensive items. And here we go again. GBM coming around the side. Trace showed at the bottom side because the wave control from IM was so good that he had to clear it out.
Yeah, I am a little bit nervous here. Apple over the wall to fight GBM. Roar, they're all chasing him. GBM on the run right now. That's a lot of damage. Ganked by Mom in trouble. There's the Zonias, and that'll mean GBM gets taken out by IM. Oh boy. And now Jinair. Can they defend against this Baron? IM took a bit of damage.
No, IM definitely can't do this Baron anymore. The Equalizer's back up. Pilot has his ultimate available too, and Tucson is way too chunked out to be efficient in this little battle. So,
well, GBM getting out of position lately in a way that we have not seen very often from him.
He did stop that Baron from going down, but there's just nothing he can do as this Yasuo pick because he was trying to duel with the Kassadin, couldn't get the knock-up on Kassadin, and then found himself in a situation where the Zonias was easily able to halt his progress in terms of getting that kill.
Sure enough. I am still sticking around the Baron. It's like they think they still have an opportunity here, maybe. But GBM's back up, like, right now. No. Hard to catch Apple. Jinair gets an opportunity to clear out all these wards. Looks like they're going to be able to do it without any issues. Now, does Jinair start the Baron?
The endless Baron dance
Right?
continues.
All right. Jinair rotating down the mid lane now. Looks like they're just going to push for a little while, see if they can force IM to catch up with them. Or just get the lane pushed up anyway.
This Yasuo is just such an unforgiving pick. We saw GBM do a great job of getting an advantage. Fantastic work ganking the side lanes and good synergy with his teammates for getting that last breath off. But if you make that one mistake like he did, playing overly aggressive under the turret, and he gave IM a foothold back into this game, the Yasuo just is a non-presence in these team fights.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it puts a pretty big onus on the rest of his team to do well. And if you're dying that fast with the Yasuo when you have that much MR combined with a locket on your team and you're still going down without doing anything, I'm not sure it's an appropriate pick for this meta.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. but not GBM.
GBM also just going for the Vamp Scepter right now, so maybe almost certainly actually. Well, we'll see if he could go Bloodthirster right here for the extra shield.
Bloodthirster would probably be a good idea. Wow, Janair turning onto this Baron. Is this going to work out? Apple and Ignar getting closer, and Janair backs off immediately. They were trying to bait something with that, and they caught Tucson. Tucson low, and he gets taken out by Chaser. Janair successfully baiting into a pick there. And now they can just keep the pressure up onto this Baron for a little while.
They have to actually start this. The problem is that Void Rush is going to be back up, so they have a very narrow window of time. Just the death timer effectively before they have to deal with this Rek'Sai again. Pilot clearing out the top wave. Sweet actually took a lot of damage from the Baron.
Yeah, and now they're going to go on to it. Okay, so you would think they can kill Baron pretty quick, but it's still such a big pressure from all the poke here. Landry giving vision. They're going to throw Apple in and then pull him out again. And I don't think Jin Air can do this. They're taking too much damage. The Baron getting low. Here we go, Equalizer to try to save it. Baron does get taken by Jin Air. Heals coming in for a sweep, but that's a kill for Apple right off the bat. GBM gets a nice last breath. There's a Zonia Zo. A kill, though, on the Frozen is pretty big for Jin Air. A kill comes in for Corky, though. And Apple goes in to try to assassinate. GBM doesn't quite do it. Now he gets him. Meanwhile, Chaser looking for a bit of revenge. Pilot's still there. Tucson comes in. Roar in the fight as well. Chaser over the wall. Another kill. That's a double now for Apple. And Pilot in big trouble. So they get the Baron, but they get aced. Jin Air just making some really poor decisions this game.
Well, and if you go in on the Baron like that, you're getting so much MR shred against you against a Kassadin.
Defeats the purpose of what you're building.
And a Cassiopeia in the late game. So a lot of that MR not going to be very useful right there, and they try and just burst this one down. GBM attempts to use the wind wall to cut some of the Baron damage. Frozen comes in, great ultimate, but Chaser able to snag that Baron in the end. GBM gets exhausted during his last breath, so it's not actually doing that much damage. And then he comes back up, and what's he going to do? Walk around in the pit a little bit, and then Apple pops back over. Good rift walking from Apple, actually, just in and out over the pit.
Oh, action down at Dragon right now. Actually, Trace picking up a kill, and IM getting some action, but they're going to throw it away just as fast. So I'm like switching between monitors here. That's a double kill for Trace before he got taken out. Dragon not acquired by IM. So 2 kills right back for Jin Air.
But no Dragon buffs, actually. So Trace teleporting in to make that pickup, and now they actually are going to be able to get Dragon number 4. If Jin Air can win this game, maybe they could do it just by forcing enough Dragons and having like that 5-stack. So that's going to be it.
Well, I mean, as far as what they lost from that ace, it amounted to not much. They didn't lose their inhibitor turret or anything like that. They came back right away, got 2 kills, got Dragon. So, you know, IM getting the edge and then immediately losing it again. This game. This game, guys.
Yeah, this game.
Yeah. Monty, when you play the game of throws, you win or you die. And sometimes you win and then die and then win and then die. But eventually somebody dies and somebody wins. It's the game of throws.
It's true.
Yep.
Certainly not one of the cleaner games we've seen in this very young season.
Not really. Well, a couple QSSs now on Jin Air. Pilot has one as well.
Everybody gets to have MR.
Yep, unless they do a really long Baron and lose it all.
And there's the Spirit Visage for Chaser too, so we're really going with all the MR this game, as you would expect. Rylai's there as well for Trace.
So you would think Jin Air should still be able to win this.
Oh, they can. It's just going to be slow, Don.
Of course.
I mean, they basically have to get 5 Dragons at this late stage of the game. Apple has everything a young Kassadin could dream of. The Athenes as the 3rd item now, followed up by a Void Staff. So those Void Staffs, huge pickups right now for Incredible Miracle. That's exactly what they need.
It's true.
To deal with all the MR stacking. And Apple's resets are going to be pretty darn crazy with his stacking up of the Rift Walk and getting that 30% mana back every kill or assist that he grabs. So,
oh, here we go. Chaser trying to make a play. Nice equalizer, but Chaser a little bit caught out here. Apple comes over the wall, a little bit of damage. That's a kill for Roar now. And IM getting the better of that fight. I feel like Jin Air kind of forced that one a bit too far.
Well, Yasuo is also not able to get an ult off during that engagement.
Yeah.
Trace had a nice equalizer, but they weren't all there yet to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And now they have no more Aegis because Gragas is dead. At least they have enough wave clear to probably hold off for the time being.
True. Well, that turret getting very, very low. Tucson trying to come in, doesn't find the knock-up. They do get the turret, though. Jin trying to save this inhibitor. Might see a bit of a 4v5 here, but...
Without Gragas, there's no way to set up this Yasuo ult, so they're just going to lose the inhib.
Yeah, well, not unless Sweet hits a whirlwind, which he did not. There goes the inhibitor. So, Jin looking a bit disjointed in the latter half of this game.
Well, it's just the Yasuo pick. What are you going to do with it now? There's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing to do with the Yasuo.
Split push farm? I don't know.
I think you take almost any other champion that is in the meta right now, and you're able to make some plays with it.
It's very bizarre. Like, even in picks and bans, they just insta-lock it for the last one. They're like, haha, Yasuo.
Fooled you.
Ah.
You know, to their credit, like I said, they did use it well early, but there's just, you could see the limitations on this champion.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's a Yasuo with pretty much all the items you could really desire, you know? I mean, maybe he'll get that Mercurial Scimitar out of the Quicksilver Sash at some point, but it's not too helpful. Or all the items don't seem to be doing him a ton of good anyway.
Baron up in a minute 26. And of course, I am with a Cassiopeia and a Blade of the Ruin King Corki is going to be able to do that in no time flat.
Yep. Oh, the last tier 2 for Jin Trying to defend it. The Corki Gatling sound will not go away.
Oh, it's broken.
It's going forever. Oh, great. Is this hell, Monte Cristo?
Corki Gatling, yeah, that bug happens sometimes. A little bit of poke right there. And Tucson trying to split push at the moment. So Jin is going to have to give up this tier 2.
Yeah, it looks that way.
As Apple wants to put some more poke damage down. Actually, Jin is doing a decent job of defending this, all things considered.
Not bad. All right. Well.
The never-ending Gatling gun.
Does it go away when he dies?
We can only hope, right?
Wait. Oh, no, there it is.
Must be, at least we can switch the camera to the mid lane sometimes to ignore it. Must be very annoying if it's happening to his teammates right now. All right, Baron's going to come up. Baron is live. No wards for Jin They're going to have to get over here and face check a little bit. Already Tucson starting it. They're going to try and two-man this Baron. Chaser's just going to do the Raptors.
Oh, boy. Casually sauntering over. I wonder what's happening in the Baron pit. Let's find out. It's not much. Throw down a ward. Oh, my gosh, they have Baron. There's a knockup from Sweet. Can they get away? Trace coming in with that teleport. Low health onto Tucson. Nice knockup. Nice last breath, actually. But will they be able to follow it up with enough? That's a kill for Pilot. Things looking okay. Apple having to flee the fight right now. 2 for Jin after the Baron gets taken out. Roar on his own. And Jin he's still getting away. But here's Chaser comes in with a flash. Body slam. And that is 3 dead. Baron is just not where you want to be this game, apparently.
Baron is where the throws happen this game, Doa. There's the 5th dragon as well. Jin can take out an inhibitor and then turn back onto that one.
Yeah,
Frozen got caught with a beautiful combo between the equalizer. He had to pop his Zhonya's immediately, and then GBM was still on top of him when he came back out of it.
It's a lot of time until they come back. It's still a full 30 seconds. Can they actually end here? Jin coming in. And this could be it. The minions are getting Baron buff, though. No, you got to turn around,
You have to turn around.
You can't. They're not turning around, Monty.
The Baron buff is too much, I think, to deal with.
19
so
seconds.
Risky.
They got to do it in 20 seconds. Maybe they can. Last breath onto Ignar. There's 1 damage. They really need to focus on the objectives here. GBM needs to turn around, needs to hit these turrets. Apple trying to be annoying from the outside. And Jin looks like they'll be able to just barely finish it off just in time.
Really risky when you have a guaranteed 5th dragon right there to try and fight when they have the Baron empowered minions in the base, but they pull it off. just barely. Frozen nearly back up.
I need to go shower after that one. That one was dirty. Well, it's a 2-0 for Jin Air, but I think some takeaways you can work on at the end of the day on that one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. And
yeah,
I think maybe styling a little bit in that last game.
Hey, we finally got an exciting game at least. Though,
we did get an exciting game, even if it wasn't that clean. Props to IM for nearly coming back and actually playing the late game relatively well right there.
Well, both IM and Samsung tonight, they don't look to be the best, but they do look better.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jin Air looks like they've improved a little bit, but they still have pretty much all the same problems they did before. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where Jin Air ends up.